Tonight, we drift to the quiet edges of our solar system, where a giant of soft swirling clouds turns slowly in the dark. Jupiter, the gentle guardian of our cosmic neighborhood, waits for us there. You do not need to think. You do not need to focus. You are simply here, breathing, listening, resting. Let your body soften, let your breath become slow, and let your thoughts float like clouds through a calm and endless sky. This is your time to unwind. This is your time to dream. So settle in, get comfortable, and gently fall into the most relaxing Jupiter facts to help you sleep. Welcome to Dreamy Sleepy Science. The giant above the clouds. There is something peaceful about imagining Jupiter from far away, not in the way textbooks describe it, not as data points or measurements, but as a quiet presence hanging in the dark of space. It is enormous, yes, more massive than all the other planets in the solar system combined, yet there is no weight in the way it appears, no sense of struggle, just an unhurried, steady existence. A giant that does not need to move quickly to be understood. Jupiter floats through the blackness wrapped in soft bands of color. Cream, amber, pale gold, muted rose, gentle browns that fade into one another like slow-moving watercolors. These bands do not stay still. They shift, swirl, and wander across its surface, but they never seem rushed. The motion feels natural, effortless, as if the planet is breathing. From far away, Jupiter looks calm, impossibly calm for something so large. There is no sharp glow, no violent flare of light, no edges or angles. Only curves, only flow, only rhythm. The silence of space surrounds it, and Jupiter seems to carry that silence well, holding it like a blanket, drawn lightly over its atmosphere. If you were to look at it for a long time and really look, your breath might start to match its pace, slow, even, quiet. The planet becomes less of a distant object and more of a mood, a reminder that vast things do not need to be loud. That strength does not always announce itself. That something can be powerful and still be gentle. This is Jupiter's presence. A slow drifting dream above the clouds. Floating in a sea of sky unlike Earth, Jupiter does not have a solid surface to stand on. There is no ground, no soil, no stone, no place for a foot to land or a path to follow. To exist on Jupiter would be to exist in the sky itself. There are layers upon layers of clouds, each one softer than the last. They stretch downward into unfathomable depth, blending layer into layer until the difference between air and world becomes unclear. The deeper one goes, the more the atmosphere thickens. The gas compresses, the pressure rises. Eventually, clouds become fluid. Not water, but something stranger, something heavier, something glowing from within. But that hidden depth is slow, quiet, patient. It does not rush to reveal itself. It does not try to impress. It simply exists and has existed for billions of years. The upper clouds glide across the planet in broad, gentle waves. They are shaped by winds that are fast, yes, but appear smooth and unbroken when seen from afar. Movement without chaos, motion without urgency. If you were floating above those clouds, suspended somehow in their soft expanse, the world beneath would feel endless. There would be no horizon, no firm boundary. Only sky layered upon sky, opening in every direction like an ocean with no bottom. The light would be dim but warm, filtered through bands of color the way sunlight passes through water. And everything would feel slow. Not because time is different, but because you would be different. Surrounded, supported, carried. Jupiter teaches a kind of stillness not found on Earth. A giant that holds worlds in its shadow, when we say Jupiter is large enough to hold over 1,000 Earths. It's easy to think of that as just a number. But size can be more than an idea. It can be a feeling. Imagine Earth full of oceans, forests, people, history. Now imagine it as a single bead of light. Now imagine 1,000 of those beads resting quietly inside Jupiter's volume, with room still to spare. Yet Jupiter does not seem crowded by its own immensity. The planet wears its size lightly. When it appears in the sky of our telescopes, it does not loom. It simply rests. A giant that does not need to remind anyone that it is a giant. There is something deeply calming about that. Something reassuring. As if Jupiter exists to show that greatness can be quiet. That power can be soft. That something can be enormous and yet gentle in its presence. It does not demand attention. It receives it naturally. The calm of perspective. When you think of Jupiter hanging in the darkness of space, its enormous body turning slowly, wrapped in its drifting clouds, something inside the mind relaxes. Earth, with all its noise, its urgency, its movement, feels small by comparison, not in a dismissive way, but in a relieving way. The problems of the day, the noise of thoughts, the rushing world, they shrink slightly, not disappear, just soften. The universe reminds us that there is more than what we are holding in our minds at this moment. More space, more breath, more quiet. Jupiter moves slowly, and in watching it, we remember that we can move slowly too. There is no need to chase anything here, no need to solve anything right now. No need to be anywhere except where you are, just drifting, just breathing, just resting above the clouds. As you drift deeper into this scene, imagine yourself closer now, as if you are floating just above Jupiter's swirling atmosphere. There is no sound here, no wind in your ears, no rushing storm noise, only stillness. Even though storms rage below, they move with such vastness, such scale, that your mind cannot register them as chaos. Instead, they look like gentle brushstrokes, slowly folding into one another, like colors blending in water, like a dream beginning to form, like emotions settling without words. Jupiter is not a place of sharp edges or sudden movement. It is a world of gradual motion, of endless patterns repeating like the rhythm of breath. In and out, in and out. And a calm so wide it could stretch across the entire sky. You begin to notice the bands of clouds, soft pastel ribbons of peach, rose, cream, and dusty gold. They do not fight each other. They simply move past one another with the patience of eternity. You feel the scale of time here. It is slower, gentler, as though every moment is allowed to take up as much space as it needs. No hurry, no pressure, just the slow, endless dance of color. A calm hidden within the storm far below. A storm larger than Earth swirls in quiet majesty, the great red spot. To some, it is violent. To others, fierce. But from here and from this calm view, it is simply beautiful. A rose-colored oval turning slowly, steadily, softly like a lantern glowing beneath clouds. It has existed for centuries, longer than the lifetimes of kings and empires, longer than stories remembered in books. And yet it does not rush. It simply endures. It simply is. The storm is not angry, and it is ancient. Like memory itself, like the way water remembers the shape of the riverbed, the way wind remembers the curve of the mountain. Here the universe does not forget, it only transforms. A world made of dreams and, like Jupiter, is not solid. It has no surface to stand on, no ground to press your feet against, no path to walk. Instead it is atmosphere. Endless, flowing, shifting atmosphere. soft, deep, boundless. If you were to descend into it, there would be no moment where you could say, "Here is the beginning of the world." You would simply find yourself wrapped in cloud, wrapped in mist, wrapped in warmth that deepens slowly, quietly, continuously, like sinking into sleep, like being carried by something vast and gentle. Like letting go, there is no falling here, only drifting, no fear, only surrender. If the universe had a cradle, it would feel like this. The moons as quiet companions around Jupiter, dozens of moons drift like silent travelers. Some icy, some volcanic, some covered in hidden oceans deeper than Earth's seas, but they are not loud. They do not compete. They simply keep the planet company, like lanterns floating in a slow-moving river of night. Europa glimmers like a pearl under thin sunlight. Ganymede hums with the stillness of ancient stone. Callisto drifts through space like an old gentle star that forgot how to shine too brightly. They move together in a slow, delicate dance. Their orbits are not rigid. They are graceful, balanced, patient. They are quiet guardians of a giant who does not require protection, but appreciates the companionship. Nothing in this system is alone. Not the planet, not the moons, not you, a place where time softens on Jupiter. Nothing is hurried. Clouds take days to complete a single curl. Storms take centuries to form their arcs. Light takes long moments to settle across its surface. This world teaches something the waking world often forgets. You are allowed to take your time, to unfold slowly, to become gradually, to heal gently. There is no need to rush toward tomorrow, no need to strain to reach the next moment. Time, like the clouds of Jupiter, can move softly, and so can you. The drift towards sleep as you float above this giant planet. You begin to feel your breath slowing again, in and out, soft, unhurried. Let the clouds continue their slow dance. Let the moons continue their patient orbit. Let Jupiter remain vast, calm, and ancient. You do not need to hold anything anymore, not your thoughts, not your worries, not your weight. Here you are simply drifting, held by the universe, safe inside its endless quiet sky. And as the colors continue to move beneath you, peach into ivory, rose into amber, cream into dusk gold, you feel yourself drifting gently, warmly towards sleep. Nothing to force, nothing to chase, just rest. Slow and deep, the giant watches over you, and the night is soft, a sky of endless storms. Imagine yourself rising gently, as if lifted by a quiet, weightless breeze. There is no effort here, no strain, no need to move your body. You are being carried upward, higher and higher, until the blue of Earth's sky thins into twilight, and then gives way to the soft velvet of space. The stars do not shimmer sharply here. They glow, warm, steady, unhurried, light breathing in the dark. And ahead of you, vast and gentle, appears Jupiter, a world of swirling cloud, a world of soft color, a world of motion so enormous and so slow that your mind cannot help but relax just by looking at it. You float closer, slowly, always slowly, because nothing on Jupiter happens fast. The planet does not rush, it does not hurry. It simply moves with the patience of time itself. The clouds form bands that circle the planet like soft ribbons of peach, ivory, amber, rose, pale gold, and smoky cream. Each band is a river of air, flowing around the planet the way a dream drifts through a resting mind. Calm, continuous, endlessly repeating in gentle cycles. This is a sky of endless storms, but storms unlike any storms you have ever known. They do not crash. They do not roar. They unfold, they drift, they bloom. They breathe. Each swirl of cloud is larger than continents, larger than oceans, larger than the world you came from, and yet they are soft. They move the way fog moves at dawn, the way mist travels over still water, the way a sigh leaves the body just before sleep, slow, peaceful, weightless. Here storms are not a sign of chaos, they are a form of celestial calm. The rhythm of the clouds as you drift closer, you begin to see the patterns more clearly. The clouds spiral and fold inward in shapes that feel familiar, like fingerprints, like seashells, like the gentle whirls of your own breath as it enters and leaves. The storms have rhythm, a slow pulse, a quiet cadence in and out, in and out, like the ocean tide against the shore, like the rise and fall of your chest as you sleep, like the turning of the earth beneath you. There are storms here that have lasted longer than all recorded human history, storms that were already ancient before the pyramids rose, storms that have watched centuries unfold and centuries fade, and yet they remain gentle, not angry, not violent, just vast and calm and eternal. To watch them is to feel time stretch and soften. There is no rush here, no deadlines, no urgency, only movement, endless soothing movement. The quiet breath of a giant Jupiter is enormous, a world with a presence you can feel even from afar. But its presence is not overwhelming. It is comforting, like standing beside an old tree that has existed for centuries, like sitting near the ocean and hearing the rhythm of waves that have rolled long before you were born and will continue long after. It is a calm that comes from age, but also from acceptance. Nothing here tries to be anything else. The storms do not try to end. The clouds do not try to stay still. The planet does not try to change its nature. It simply is, and that is enough. You're allowed to simply be, too. For these moments, you do not need to achieve. You do not need to solve. You do not need to hold the world together. You are floating above Jupiter, wrapped in quiet, held in stillness. This is a place where your mind is allowed to rest. Colors that drift like thought. The colors of Jupiter do not stay still. They fade into one another, gently, gradually, like paint dissolving in warm water. Peach becomes apricot. Apricot becomes honey. Honey becomes cream. Cream becomes a soft, pale rose, like dawn brushing the sky. There are deeper shades too. The subtle reds of ancient storms, the smoky browns of swirling clouds, the amber glows that shimmer just beneath the surface, like candlelight behind silk. The colors move slowly. So slowly you could watch one change into another for hours and never see a beginning or an end. They simply evolve, gently, calmly, just like emotions shifting quietly inside you. Just like thoughts sinking softly into stillness. Just like the slow drift into sleep. You do not need to chase the colors. You do not need to hold them. They move for you. You only need to watch and breathe. The great storm that dreams below the great red spot turns like a candle flame behind a curtain of cloud. Not fierce, not violent, just steady. A single ancient thought, turning, turning, turning. If storms had memory, this one would remember the birth of civilizations, the drifting of continents, the first stories ever whispered by humans beside firelight. It is older than history, and yet it moves with the delicacy of a dream. Nothing here is harsh. Even the storm has learned the art of patience, the quiet lessons of Jupiter. As you float and watch the endless sky, you begin to understand. Nothing needs to happen quickly. Your life does not need to be rushed. Your growth does not need to be forced. Your healing does not need to be hurried. You may move like the clouds, softly at your own pace. You are allowed to take your time. You are allowed to unfold gradually. You are allowed to rest. Just as Jupiter has been forming and reforming its clouds for billions of years, you are allowed to exist without urgency. The drift towards sleep. The clouds below continue their gentle dance, slow spirals, soft curves, peaceful motion. Your breath mirrors them now. Your body loosens. Your mind quiets. There is nothing you must do, only drift, only breathe, only rest. The sky of endless storms continues its slow, eternal movement, and you drift with it. Lighter, softer, quieter, closer to sleep. The great red whisper. Imagine yourself drifting once more through the quiet of space. There is no sound here, not because the universe is empty, but because it is peaceful. Everything is soft. Everything is slow. Everything is gentle. You move without effort, as though the universe itself is carrying you forward, guiding you to a place where you can finally let your mind rest. Ahead of you, Jupiter turns with its quiet and steady grace. Band by band, color by color, it revolves like a warm, living painting, fluid, calm, endlessly unfolding. And there, resting like a candle flame floating across the clouds, lies the great red spot. A storm vast enough to fit entire planets within it. A storm older than every city, every empire, every word ever written by human hands. A storm older than memory, but it does not rage. It does not crash or roar. It moves slowly, like the turning of a page in a book that the universe has been reading for billions of years. It is not a storm of destruction. It is a whisper, a storm. Without anger on earth, storms come with noise, wind and crackling thunder, rain striking rooftops and oceans in restless bursts. But here, there is no sound. Everything is quiet, weightless, calm. The great red spot moves like a gentle breath, in and out, round and round, with the patience of deep time. Its clouds fold into one another, spiraling softly, like cream drifting through tea, or smoke curling upward in a warm, still room. Nothing forces its motion. It simply turns. There is no urgency, no stress, no pressure to be anything other than what it is. A slow, quiet swirl of color in the vastness of a peaceful world. Imagine if thoughts could move like that, not crashing, not crowding, not pushing back, but simply turning slowly, softly, without demand. That is what this storm teaches. There is a way to exist without tension. There is a way to move without strain. There is a way to just be, older than time as we feel it. The great red spot has been turning for at least 400 years, perhaps much longer. Entire generations have come and gone. Empires have risen, then faded into dust. Stars have been named, forgotten, renamed. Histories have unfolded and vanished. And all the while, this storm has continued to drift, endlessly, patiently, peacefully. It has seen the world change more times than memory can hold, yet it does not hurry. It teaches something very simple and very deep. There is no need to rush your life. Everything that is meant to unfold will unfold, just as clouds reshape themselves. Over time, you will grow into who you are meant to be, softly, slowly, naturally. You do not need to force anything. You are already becoming just like Jupiter's storm, the color of calm. The great red spot is not one color. It is many, shifting, blending, passing gently into new shades as the years flow forward, soft ember red, warm sunset orange, muted rose gold, and in the very deepest parts, hints of honeyed amber, glimmering like lantern light beneath the clouds. The colors are warm, but not bright. They do not shout. They do not demand attention. They feel like the glow of a bedroom lamp. When the night is quiet and everything is winding down, they feel like the last light of day resting on mountains before evening settles in. They feel safe. They feel restful. And as you watch them, you notice something. Your breathing begins to match the slow turning of the storm, in and out, in and out. Soft, unhurried, calm. Your thoughts begin to settle. Your shoulders loosen, your face softens, your heartbeat slows. You are beginning to drift, not into sleep just yet, but into the state right before sleep, where everything becomes quiet on the inside. This is the doorway, and the storm is holding it open for you. A world that moves slowly. Jupiter is enormous, so large that everything happens at a different pace. Time here is not like time on Earth. Everything moves like deep ocean currents, like the slow settling of sand, like the drift of continents. The great red spot is simply part of that rhythm, a gentle, endless turning. You do not watch it change moment by moment. You watch it change over centuries, the way mountains change, shape, or rivers carve valleys, or trees grow in quiet forests where no one is watching. This storm does not rush, and neither must you. You are allowed to. Stretch into your life. Take time to understand things. Take time to heal. Take time to grow. Take time to rest. Nothing meaningful needs to happen fast. The universe itself unfolds slowly. So you can too. A place where the mind can rest as you float above Jupiter. You notice that your thoughts are softer now. Not gone, just gentler. They move like the clouds. They drift. They loosen. They reorganize themselves without pressure. You do not need to try to stop thinking. Your mind knows how to quiet itself. Just like the storm, it will settle into a rhythm, as long as you allow it to. Your only task is to watch. Watch the gentle turning. Watch the soft spirals. Watch the quiet dance of color. That is enough. You are enough. Just by being here. Just by breathing. Just by resting. A storm that protects, not destroys. Scientists believe the great red spot may help shelter Jupiter, absorbing energy, balancing winds, keeping the planet's atmosphere in a kind of peaceful harmony. The storm does not break the world, it protects it. This is important. Sometimes the parts of you that feel the most intense, the most powerful, the most overwhelming, are actually protective. Your mind tries to take care of you, even when it feels like it's too much. But here above Jupiter, you learn something new. Protection does not have to be loud. It does not have to be urgent. It does not have to be exhausting. Protection can be quiet, slow, steady, gentle, just like this storm. And you realize you can protect your peace without fighting. You can keep yourself safe without tension. You can exist without stress. You are floating. Now let yourself drift, a little lighter, a little softer, a little calmer. The storm below continues its eternal turn, slowly, quietly, endlessly steady. Your breath follows, in and out, If your eyes are not closed yet, they may begin to feel heavy. Not forced, not pushed, just naturally ready to rest. Your mind has slowed to match Jupiter. Your thoughts are circling now, softly, gently, just like the clouds. No urgency, no pressure. Everything is okay. Everything is allowed to rest. Everything can be quiet now. The whisper of the storm. The storm does not speak in words, but it communicates something clear and comforting. You are safe. You can rest. You have done enough. There is nothing you must solve tonight, nothing you must fix, nothing you must carry. The world will be here tomorrow. Right now is for rest. Right now is for breathing. Right now is for drifting into sleep. Softly, naturally, slowly, just like the storm. Begin to drift. Your breathing has slowed. Your thoughts have softened. Your body has loosened. The great red spot continues its gentle, eternal turn, and you drift with it. Floating, resting, falling softly towards sleep. There is no rush. Take your time. Let sleep arrive like a quiet tide. The universe is holding you. The planet is whispering to you. The clouds are guiding you home to rest. You are safe here. You are calm here. You are allowed to sleep. Just breathe and drift and let go. Clouds of pastel light. Sleep narration, part 1. Imagine opening your eyes in a place where the sky never ends. The air is weightless. The horizon is not made of land or sea, but of soft, endless color, stretching out in smooth bands that drift and blend into one another. Cream, rose, golden amber, faint hints of purple and pearl, mixed in gentle transitions that seem to move without ever rushing. This is Jupiter's atmosphere, a world without edges, without sharp contrasts, without sudden change. Everything unfolds slowly, like thought becoming dream or daylight settling quietly into dusk. There is no ground beneath you here, no surface to stand on. You simply float, held gently within the vastness of clouds that have existed for longer than memory. And yet nothing about this world feels overwhelming. It feels soft, as though the planet is wrapped in light that remembers how to be gentle, as though the sky itself is breathing slowly, calmly, endlessly. The colors around you are not bright like a flame or a sunrise on Earth. They are muted, delicate, almost faded, like the way dawn looks when you see it through half-closed eyes. Just before waking, there is a softness here that encourages your own mind to soften with it. Your breathing slows, your thoughts loosen. You are simply here, drifting in a sky of quiet color, the atmosphere as a dreaming. Ocean Jupiter's atmosphere moves like water, but it is not water. It flows in smooth currents and layered waves, each one gliding over the next as though gravity itself has chosen to relax. There are no hard boundaries, no clear lines, no sudden edges. Everything is gradual, everything takes its time. The clouds swirl in patterns that stretch across thousands of miles, yet they move so slowly, so steadily, that the motion feels like a deep breath held across centuries. If you were to reach your hand into this sky, nothing solid would meet your touch. Only softness, only calm, only color that moves like memory, where one shade becomes another, not by force, but by gentle blending. You begin to understand why the planet looks the way it does. It is not painted, it is alive. But alive in a quiet way, alive the way a candle flame is alive. Alive the way a river is alive, alive. The way a dream moves before falling into deeper sleep. The Colors that drift. The colors here are made from clouds of hydrogen and helium, joined by hints of other gases that create tones we rarely see on Earth. But you do not need to know the chemistry. What matters is the feeling. The cream-colored bands feel warm, familiar, soothing, like soft blankets or sunlight resting on a floor in late afternoon. The rose-colored swirls feel gentle, emotional, tender, like the feeling of remembering something kind, something safe, something meaningful that never had to be spoken aloud. And the golden tones feel steady, grounding, even in a place where nothing holds. Still, these colors do not demand attention, they invite it. They draw your eye the way calm water draws your reflection. They give your mind a place to rest, a place where it can stop racing, a place where it can simply be. Your body begins to drift. As you watch the pastel clouds turn, you begin to feel lighter, not in the body, but in the mind. The weight you didn't know you were carrying begins to ease. Thoughts that were tangled begin to loosen. You are not trying to relax. You are simply being carried. Your breathing adjusts to the rhythm of the clouds. Slow in. Slow out, slow in, slow out. The same pace Jupiter moves, the same pace the universe breathes, the same pace rest arrives. You do not need to force anything. You do not need to control anything. You are simply floating, surrounded by color and quiet motion. This is what peace feels like, not empty, not silent, just soft, soft enough that you can finally rest. Pause here before I continue the chapter. Take one slow breath in and out. Let your jaw loosen. Let your shoulders drop. Let your hands soften where they rest. There is nowhere to be right now. Nothing to solve. Nothing to fix. Nothing to think through. You are in the clouds. You are safe. You are resting. The floating kingdom. When we talk about Jupiter, one of the most surprising truths is that it has no solid surface at all. There is no ground to stand on, no soil, no stone. Jupiter is made almost entirely of gas, layer upon layer of clouds stretching downward into depths we cannot see. If someone were to try to land there would be nowhere to land. Instead of touching ground, they would simply continue to sink, passing deeper and deeper into thicker clouds, where the pressure and temperature change slowly and continuously. Because of that, being on Jupiter would feel like floating. There is no single surface, no sharp line dividing sky from ground. The entire world is sky. Everything is atmosphere. Everything is soft, layered, and moving at its own gentle pace. Imagine standing somewhere where the only thing beneath your feet is mist. Not falling, not rising, just drifting. Now imagine that feeling stretched across an entire planet. Scientists call Jupiter a gas giant, and that term fits well. But it does not mean chaos or turbulence, at least not in this context. The clouds move in smooth bands that wrap around the planet like soft fabric. They drift and curl, creating calm spirals and long, slow currents that resemble the movement of great oceans. Nothing moves abruptly. Everything is gradual. Everything is layered and deep and steady. If you could somehow float in these upper clouds, the view would be peaceful rather than overwhelming. The sky above would stretch endlessly, changing color in muted, blended tones. The clouds around you would feel like living weather, soft shapes that breathe and shift without rushing. Light filters through the atmosphere as though diluted, softened and blurred, turning the sky into a soothing haze of pale gold, faded rose, and cream. There is a sense of weightlessness in this idea, not only physical but emotional. Jupiter feels like the embodiment of calm expansion. a place where the world is open in every direction, yet nothing demands urgency, nothing demands effort. There is no ground to hold on to, but also no need to hold on. You simply float. The floating kingdom reminds us that rest can happen when we stop trying to anchor ourselves. Sometimes peace is found not by gripping the earth beneath us, but by gently allowing ourselves to drift, trusting that we do not need to control everything to be safe. It is a world that teaches softness, space, and letting go. Winds that never wake. There are winds on Jupiter that never stop. They circle the planet in smooth, endless ribbons, flowing in silent currents that have moved for longer than we have existed. If you look at Jupiter from afar, these winds appear soft, like brushstrokes of pale gold, ivory, amber, and faint rose. The motion is fast, yes, but the feeling is slow, like the universe breathing. You may imagine winds as something loud, as storms that howl and shake the air, stirring leaves and sand and rain. But on Jupiter, there is no ground for wind to strike, no forests to rustle, no oceans to churn, no cities for the wind to sweep through. Nothing to knock over, nothing to disturb, and so the winds move without sound, just motion, smooth and endless, quiet, unbroken, like a lullaby made of air. Jupiter's atmosphere is deep, so deep that it is almost like a world made entirely of sky. The winds move through this sky the way thoughts drift through the mind just before sleep, lightly, softly, without direction or demand. They do not hurry. They do not struggle. They simply drift. As you imagine this, allow your breathing to become as gentle as those winds. Slow, soft, unhurried. Let the rhythm of Jupiter's endless sky become the rhythm of your breath. The rhythm of the sky. The winds on Jupiter move in belts, long, flowing bands that wrap around the planet like calm, layered waves of time. Some bands drift eastward, some drift westward, but they do not collide. They do not clash. They pass by one another with a graceful, unbroken glide. It is a harmony without sound, a dance without force. Each band knows where to flow. Each current continues its journey without hesitation. Nothing interrupts. Nothing demands change. Imagine lying beneath an endless sky. No horizon, no edges, only soft color and slow swirling movement. No beginning, no ending, and just motion, the way clouds move when the day is warm and the world is still. That's what Jupiter feels like, a planet where the atmosphere is always dreaming, a planet without noise. Wind on Earth has sound because it touches things. It pushes, it shakes, it moves the world around it. But Jupiter is made of gas, so the winds move freely, gently, without resistance. There is no friction. No contact, no crash of movement against matter, just the pure, soft drift of air upon air. Layer upon layer, silky, smooth, unbroken. If you could drift inside those winds, you would not feel swept or tossed. You would feel carried, held, supported by motion itself, like floating in warm water, or resting in a dream that continues even after you realize you are dreaming. These winds are not storms. They are continuity, something eternal, something patient, something deeply, deeply calm. The quiet turning of the planet Jupiter spins faster than any other planet in our solar system. Its rotation is swift, so swift that a day there lasts less than 10 hours. But this speed does not feel rushed. It feels gentle, like a slow, steady turning. The kind of motion that happens without effort, like the Earth spinning under the night sky, like clouds drifting across a quiet moon, like sleep settling into the body when the day is over and the world becomes silent. Even in its great speed, Jupiter is calm, motion without urgency. and the winds follow this motion and flowing with the spin, aligning themselves with the rhythm of the rotation. They are not chaotic. They are not wild. They are synchronized, like breathing, like the pulse of a dream, the layers of peace. If you could descend into Jupiter's atmosphere as slowly, gently, you would pass through layers of cloud, each one softer than the last. There would be no jolt, no sudden shift. The light would dim gradually. Colors would blend into one another like watercolors merging on wet paper. Cream drifting into gold, gold melting into pale rose, rose dissolving into quiet lavender, lavender sinking into cool deep blue. Each layer would be warmer, softer, quieter. Like descending deeper into sleep, nothing would push you. Nothing would pull you. You would simply sink, slowly, comfortably, the way thoughts sink into dreams. The winds would hold you, wrap around you, carry you downward like a gentle tide carrying a leaf. Peace is not merely present here, it is the environment. Jupiter is not a place of noise or conflict. It is a world where motion happens without effort, where change happens without struggle, where time flows like water slipping through open fingers. Nothing has to happen. Nothing must be done. Just being is enough. The dream in the atmosphere, the winds are not awake. They do not strain. They do not try. They simply are. Like sleep, like rest. Like the part of your mind that drifts quietly below thoughts. The part where peace lives even when waking life grows loud. If you close your eyes, imagine this: a sky without edges. Colors so soft they barely seem to exist. Movement so gentle it feels like the world breathing around you. You are floating, suspended in warmth. There is no up, no down. Nothing to hold on to and nothing you need to. The winds guide you. They cradle you. They know the path even without direction. You are safe. You are carried. You are at rest. A planet of endless calm. Earth has days and nights, light and shadow, noise and quiet. But Jupiter has no surface, no ground, no sudden shifts. Everything blends. Everything flows. Every layer is part of the next. Nothing interrupts. Nothing breaks. Nothing wakes. It is a planet made of continuity. A world where peace is not something that comes and goes. It is simply the natural state. The winds of Jupiter are the lullaby of the universe. Always moving, always gentle, always soft. They are the reminder that motion does not have to mean urgency. That speed does not have to mean force. That change can be quiet, slow, and deeply soothing, like rest, like breathing, like sleep. And as these winds move, they whisper, you do not have to hurry. You do not have to push. You do not have to think, just drift. Just breathe, just rest. When you are ready, let your breath match the wind, slow, soft, unbroken. You are safe. You are held. You are drifting. Sleep is here. And it does not need to be chased. Just allow it to arrive, as gently as Jupiter's winds. The gentle glow of moons. There are 4 large moons that circle Jupiter like quiet companions, each one moving with the slow grace of drifting lanterns. They are called Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. Together, they are known as the Galilean moons, named after the astronomer who first saw them through a small telescope more than 400 years ago. Yet the story of these moons is far older than any telescope. Their motions are ancient, steady, and deeply calm. They have orbited Jupiter for billions of years, and they will likely continue to do so for billions more, tracing the same paths through the quiet dark of space. When we look at Jupiter, we often think of the swirling clouds, the great storms, the vastness of its atmosphere. But the moons are different. They move with stillness, with silence, with a kind of gentle devotion. They do not rush. They do not collide. They do not disturb the space they glide through. They simply move softly, like glowing beads on an invisible thread. The lanterns of the outer sky, if you could stand far away, watching Jupiter float in the deep dark of space, you would see these moons as tiny points of light slowly circling the planet. Not bright, not sharp, soft like candlelight through thin paper. They do not flicker. They do not flash. They simply glow. And because space is silent, their motion has no sound, no footsteps, no rumbling, no whisper of wind, only movement, only light, only continuity. The moons do not disturb the quiet. They are the quiet. They move in peaceful arcs, each one following its path with perfect, patient certainty. The kind of certainty that requires no effort and no decision. They simply continue, because continuing is what they have always done. There is great comfort in that, a way of being that is calm and steady, untouched by worry or change. The moons remind us not all motion is chaos, not all change is loud. Some things simply are and have always been, like rest, like nightfall, like sleep settling into the body when we allow it to come on its own, a dance without sound. The four moons do not move randomly. They move in harmony, each one aligning with the others, a gentle gravitational choreography. Io moves quickly, close to Jupiter, circling the planet in just 42 hours. Europa moves more slowly, taking 3.5 days. Ganymede moves slower still, a full week for its orbit, and Callisto moves the slowest, drifting in a wide, calm path that takes over 2 weeks to complete. Yet when they align, something beautiful happens. Every time Europa completes one orbit, Io completes 2. Every time Ganymede completes one orbit, Europa completes 2 and Io completes 4. This is called orbital resonance, but it does not feel technical or mechanical. It feels like rhythm, like breath, like the gentle repetition of waves touching the same shoreline again and again, a pattern that continues without effort, a coordination that requires no planning. They simply move together. The universe is full of chaos, but here there is order without control, harmony without instruction. It is the kind of peaceful balance that happens naturally, the way your breathing slows when the night is quiet and your mind begins to soften. The soft glow of Io, the closest moon to Jupiter, is a world of color, yellows, oranges, and deep mineral reds. It is alive with quiet volcanic heat, though from afar you would only see a warm, muted glow like embers resting beneath ash. There is no firestorm, no burning roar, only warmth. Io glows like the last light of a candle fading into darkness, a gentle, tired flame, not fierce, just steady, something that holds on softly. As Io drifts through the sky, it reflects a warm, drowsy light onto Jupiter's clouds, a light that moves slowly, like a lantern being carried through a quiet corridor. If you watched long enough, you might not even notice the motion. It is that slow, that calm, the kind of movement that only becomes visible over hours, the way sunsets change or shadows stretch. It is motion meant for resting eyes, for slow minds. For evening's Europa, a silent ocean beneath ice Europa is different. It is pale, white, silver, and faint blue, smooth, calm, quiet. Europa's surface is ice, vast, unbroken, gently reflective ice. But beneath that ice lies a deep ocean, a quiet ocean, a world of water completely hidden from the stars. But the ocean does not rage. it does not surge. It rests beneath the ice like thought resting beneath calm breath, just there, present, deep and unbothered. Europa glows like frost under moonlight, soft, cool, peaceful. If Io is a warm ember, Europa is the quiet of snow, not the cold of discomfort, the cold of stillness. The kind that softens sound and slows the world until everything feels hushed and gentle. Europa carries peace, the kind of peace that comes in the moments before sleep, when the world finally stops asking anything from you. Ganymede, the great silent guardian. Ganymede is the largest moon in the solar system, larger even than the planet Mercury. But its size is not imposing. It does not dominate. It does not demand attention. Ganymede is quiet, deeply quiet. Its surface is soft gray and silver, patterned with wide plains and gentle ridges, not dramatic mountains. Not sharp cliffs, just smooth shapes worn by time into the kind of gentle curves that feel safe to look at. Ganymede moves, slowly, calmly, like someone walking through a room where fathers are sleeping. Its presence is steady, the way a parent sits near a child watching quietly, offering safety without needing to speak. Ganymede is the moon of reassurance, of stillness, of deep rest. You do not need to do anything here. You do not need to think. You only need to be Callisto, the moon at the edge of quiet. Callisto orbits far from Jupiter, where space grows silent and wide. Out here, light is softer, time stretches, everything moves slowly. Callisto is dark, calm and gentle, a moon that has not changed much for billions of years. No storms, no upheaval, no rush, just peace preserved. Callisto glows faintly like the memory of a dream, not bright, comforting, like a nightlight in a sleeping room, just enough to let you know the darkness is safe. Callisto drifts, unbothered by haste. Watching it is like watching a feather float in still air, the harmony of all four together. These moons form a quiet chorus around Jupiter. Warmth, coolness, steadiness, rest. They are four notes by repeating, circling, balancing one another without effort. Not a song you hear, but a song you feel. A lullaby made of motion, and Jupiter, vast, calm and enduring, rests at the center like a great lantern. The moons drift around it. Soft lights, gentle companions, never rushing, never straining, just being together in quiet, in harmony. Let their motion become your rest as these moons move. Their pace invites your breath to slow. Inhale, gently exhale, softly, no pressure. No goal, no effort. Let your breaths become the orbits, slow circles, smooth arcs. Try turning always to stillness. The moons remind you there is no hurry. Nothing is required of you now. The world can wait. It will be there when you wake. For now you are safe. You are held. You are drifting softly in your own quiet orbit of rest. Sleep is not something you must chase. It will arrive gently, like a moon completing its circle. Just breathe, just drift, just rest. Oceans of hidden depth beneath Jupiter's colorful cloud tops. There is a world completely different from anything on Earth. We cannot see it directly, not with telescopes, and not even with spacecraft that fly close by. But scientists have learned to understand it by studying gravity, magnetic fields, pressure, and the way light behaves around the planet. This world beneath the clouds is vast. It is layered. It is slow-moving, quiet and steady. It is made not of rock or water like the oceans we know, but something stranger, something that behaves like liquid and metal at the same time. When people first imagine Jupiter, they often think of empty gas, as if the entire planet is just cloud after cloud fading into nothing. But Jupiter has depth. The deeper you go, the more pressure rises, the more the gases compress, the more the atmosphere changes, until eventually the very material of the planet transforms. This change doesn't happen suddenly. There are no sharp boundaries, no clear lines. Everything transitions slowly, gradually, as like colors blending together in a soft gradient. This is what makes Jupiter feel so calm. Nothing rushes. Nothing snaps or breaks. Everything shifts in long, smooth flows. The further one imagines traveling downward, the more everything becomes deeper, quieter, and heavier, like sinking slowly into warm, still water. There is no sound here, no wind as we know it, no storm noise, only motion slow, constant motion. The entire world beneath the clouds feels like a deep ocean of calm pressure, steady, continuous, and ancient. The upper layers, soft gases and gentle flow. The topmost layers of Jupiter's atmosphere are made of hydrogen and helium, the lightest and simplest elements in the universe. Here everything is soft and cool. The clouds move slowly, drifting like long sheets of mist carried by winds that seem fast when measured, yet look slow when viewed from afar. They stretch for thousands of kilometers, but they never feel hurried. These clouds are the beginning of Jupiter's ocean. They are not solid. You cannot stand on them. They are like mist, like fog, layered again and again, deeper and deeper, until the air itself becomes thick enough to feel like water. The deeper you imagine going, the more the atmosphere begins to feel like something you could swim through. If swimming could happen without gravity and without sound. The middle layers, pressure builds into quiet strength as you continue downward, the pressure increases. Hydrogen, one which behaves like a gas here, starts to thicken. At this depth there is no surface, no ground, no boundary, just increasing weight, soft and continuous. The gases compress until they become dense enough to feel like a liquid. Not like water, not like oil, something softer, something smoother, a fluid without ripples, a fluid without turbulence, a fluid that simply is. This layer is warm. The warmth does not come from the sun. Sunlight barely reaches here. Instead, the warmth rises from Jupiter's core, slowly, gently, continuously, like heat from a deep hearth. There is no flicker, no flare, just steady warmth. It feels ancient, as if the heat has always been there, and always will be. The deep ocean, liquid, metallic, hydrogen, deeper still. After thousands of kilometers, the hydrogen transforms again. Here, the pressure is so great that the atoms press tightly together, behaving not like gas, not like normal liquid, but like metal that flows. This is called liquid metallic hydrogen, one of the strangest and calmest substances in the universe. It does not shine brightly like solid metal. It does not ring. It does not crack. It simply moves like an ocean of softly glowing mercury, smooth and endless. But it conducts electricity. It carries magnetic currents. It moves in vast, slow waves, forming the magnetic field that shields Jupiter's moons and shapes the space around the planet. This deep ocean is incredibly calm. Nothing disturbs it. No storms reach it. No light touches it. It exists in constant twilight, not dark, not bright, just soft, like the dimness behind closed eyes when you are just about to fall asleep. The calm at the center. Even deeper near the center, the material becomes thicker and heavier still. Some scientists believe there may be a core, possibly made of rock, metals, or a dense compressed mixture. If it is there, it does not glow. It does not beat. It does not shift with violence. It rests, silent, still, unmoving. It has rested for billions of years. Nothing disturbs it. Nothing reaches it. It is the quietest place in the entire planet, a still center in the middle of motion, a place of deep, ancient calm. A planet built for stillness. When we imagine Jupiter now, the storms and bands and colors become only the surface, a thin layer compared to the endless depth below. The true Jupiter is not loud. It is slow. It is layered. It is gentle. It is quietly powerful. It does not need to be seen to exist fully. Much like our own thoughts and the deep ones, the ones we rarely speak, Jupiter's depth is quiet, internal, unhurried, a world of hidden oceans, flowing in silence, unchanged by time. When we think of Jupiter in this way, it becomes a place of peace, of not chaos, a place where the universe slows down, where movement becomes smooth, where time stretches, a place where the mind can rest. The keeper of cosmic balance. There is something quiet about Jupiter's role in our solar system. It does not shine like the sun. It does not control seasons or tides like the moon. It does not have an orbit that brings it close to us like Mars or Venus. Yet, Jupiter is always there, steady, large, and watchful. It has existed this way for billions of years, since the early formation of the solar system, when everything was dust, fire, and motion. Back then, countless pieces of rock and ice drifted freely, colliding and reforming in endless cycles. Planets were not yet planets. They were simply growing spheres of matter, still finding their shape. In this early chaos, Jupiter formed quickly, faster than almost any other world. It became massive, large enough to influence everything around it, shaping the architecture of the solar system itself. Because Jupiter is so large, its gravity extends far beyond the space it occupies. It reaches outward, gently tugging on asteroids, comets, and drifting fragments of ancient worlds. It does not pull aggressively. Its influence is more like the quiet gravity of a mountain, steady and constant, guiding motion without force. Over time, Jupiter became something like a guardian. It did not set out to protect. It simply exists, and by existing, it shields. Many of the objects that could have struck Earth over history never reached us. They were drawn toward Jupiter instead, pulled in by its gravity, redirected into harmless orbits, or absorbed entirely into its atmosphere, where they disappeared silently, leaving no trace. There is no noise when this happens. Space has no sound. A comet enters Jupiter's atmosphere. It breaks apart. It dissolves in currents of hydrogen and heat. No impact echo, no explosion to hear, only motion, and then stillness. Jupiter does this again and again without announcement, without change, without effort. It does not choose to protect Earth, but it does, like a quiet sentinel at the edge of night, always watching. We do not see this in daily life. We look up at our sky and it appears calm. A blue dome in daytime, a field of stars at night. But space is not empty. There are still countless fragments drifting between worlds, some small as dust, some wider than mountains. And yet Earth remains safe most of the time. The skies remain quiet. Cities and oceans and forests continue undisturbed. Much of that quiet stability exists because Jupiter is there, holding its place, constant and unmoving in its purpose. Jupiter's orbit is not hurried. It takes almost 12 Earth years to travel once around the Sun. Everything it does is slow, but that slowness is not weakness. It is consistency, reliability, a a presence that never fades. Scientists sometimes refer to Jupiter as a cosmic vacuum, collecting debris that might otherwise wander inward. But that phrase misses something. Jupiter is not simply cleaning space, it is balancing it. Because sometimes Jupiter also sends objects away, pushing them outward instead of inward, sending comets into deep space again, or adjusting the orbits of asteroids so they settle into stable patterns for millions of years. It is like a conductor, keeping motion smooth, not controlling. Just guiding, it maintains harmony in the solar system. The quiet kind that does not need to be noticed to be real. A silent influence. If we could stand far above the solar system, outside of time, and watch everything move in slow motion, the sun glowing at the center, planets turning in long arcs around it, we would see Jupiter's effect clearly. Its gravity forms invisible shapes in space, gentle curves where small bodies drift, settle and remain. There are places near Jupiter where asteroids cluster in calm groups, held by stable gravity, like birds gliding on steady wind. These are called Trojan asteroids, and they travel with Jupiter, neither falling behind nor rushing ahead, partners in quiet co-orbit. It is a reminder that not all influence needs force. Sometimes presence is enough. The moons that circle around it around Jupiter, dozens of moons move steadily, each held in place by the same quiet balance. Some of them are small, little more than captured rocks. Others are worlds in their own right, but they all orbit with smooth, slow rhythm. They do not collide. They do not drift away. They move like lanterns circling a steady flame. The solar system is full of motion, yet so much of it remains stable, unbroken, because of Jupiter's gravity. This is the kind of balance that does not call attention to itself. It simply exists, like a heart beating quietly, like breathing during sleep, like the gentle rhythms of dreams. A guardian. We almost never see. When we look up at the night sky, we rarely see Jupiter directly. Sometimes it is visible as a bright, steady point of light, warmer and more constant than stars. But most of the time it is simply there beyond our sight. And yet, whether we see it or not, it continues its role, constant, stable, unchanging in its quiet watch. There is something comforting in that, the idea that a massive world, so gentle in presence, keeps the night sky calm, not through force, not through noise, but through being exactly where it is meant to be, a planet of peaceful influence. There is no urgency in Jupiter, no haste, no sudden motion. Its storms move slowly, its clouds drift in wide bands, its moons glide in perfect arcs. It gives the solar system a kind of steadiness, a quiet rhythm that mirrors the calm of sleep. To think about, Jupiter is to remember that the universe does not only create through violence, it also shapes through patience. Balance is not something the universe speaks loudly about. It is something we notice only when we look closely, calmly and with time, and Jupiter has all the time in the world, in the quiet of night. So, when we rest, when we close our eyes and drift into the soft dark of sleep, and there is comfort in remembering that the universe itself is balanced, not chaotic, not unpredictable, but steady. Jupiter continues its orbit. Its gravity continues its gentle pull. The sky remains calm, and this calm stretches across time, deeper than memory, deeper than the history of life on Earth, deeper than dreaming itself. Jupiter does not seek attention, it simply holds its place, a silent guardian in the night. Where silence meets the stars far from the familiar blue circle of Earth, beyond the whisper of clouds and the rhythm of human time, Jupiter turns slowly in the deep cosmic darkness. It does not rush, it does not strain, it simply exists, vast, serene, and ancient. Its enormous form is cradled in the endless stillness of space, wrapped in gentle darkness and starlight. And in this silence, Jupiter becomes something more than a planet. It becomes a reminder, a presence, a quiet companion to the sleeping universe. When we look at pictures of Jupiter from afar, what we see is beauty, swirls of golden clouds, pale rose storms, and glowing belts of mist. But if we could stand near it, if we could feel its presence, not with our eyes, but with our inner sense of stillness, we would understand something deeper. Jupiter is not loud, it is not harsh, it does not demand attention. It is attention. A soft, patient, eternal awareness. As it turns, the stars glide gently past its horizon, like silent fireflies drifting across a dark meadow. The cosmos does not rush here. Time is not something that moves quickly. It expands like a slow breath. A breath you barely feel, but somehow always know is there. Jupiter holds this breath. It holds it for all of us. The quiet motion of eternity. The rotation of Jupiter is fast, yes, but from a distance it does not appear hurried. Its movement is smooth and graceful, like the slow swirl of cream in warm tea. The storms that circle it, the belts and zones that trace its face, appear soft from afar, as though painted by gentle hands in long, sweeping motions. And while winds roar at tremendous speeds, we do not hear them. Sound cannot travel in the vacuum of space, so Jupiter is silent, completely, perfectly silent, a silence that is not empty, but full, rich, deep, alive. When we imagine silence on Earth, we think of quiet rooms or still evenings, but true silence, cosmic silence, is something else. It is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of peace, the peace of endless space, the peace of timeless existence, the peace of a universe that has never needed to hurry. To watch Jupiter turn is to watch eternity expressing itself in soft motion. The gentle lanterns that circle its heart around Jupiter. A family of moons travels in calm, steady orbits. Io glowing with volcanic warmth. Europa, cold and smooth, hiding an ocean of dreaming water beneath its icy crust. Ganymede, vast and quiet. Callisto, ancient and cratered like a memory of creation itself. They do not collide. They do not rush. They move in harmony. A cosmic dance choreographed by gravity's soft hand. They reflect sunlight as they travel, each one catching a glimmer of distant radiance and returning it softly into the dark. From afar they seem like lanterns, gentle beacons circling a glowing heart. It is a quiet procession, a ritual older than humanity, older than Earth, older than mountains and oceans and breath. To watch the moons of Jupiter is to witness balance. A balance that does not need to be enforced, only allowed, because the universe is good at harmony when we let it be. A hidden ocean of dreaming light beneath Jupiter's soft clouds lies a world we will never see directly, a world where hydrogen turns into liquid, where pressure folds matter into new forms, where lightning flashes like thoughts in a sleeping mind. Deeper still, hydrogen becomes metallic, shimmering, reflective, flowing like a silent ocean of molten light. This ocean does not rage, It does not roar, it simply exists, calm in its mystery. A realm of silence protected by thousands of miles of clouds, storms, and time. A world that remains untouched, not because it is unreachable, but because it is complete. Some mysteries are not meant to be solved, only felt. And Jupiter is full of those mysteries. Not puzzles, not warnings, just presence, like a dream we remember without needing to understand it. The guardian of the solar night, Jupiter, does not only exist in beauty, it exists in purpose. Its immense gravity acts like a barrier, a soft but powerful shield protecting the inner worlds from wandering comets and silent travelers of space. It absorbs impacts, redirects paths, gently gathers what might have been lost or dangerous. It has been said that without Jupiter, Earth might not be as peaceful as it is. Our history, our oceans, our sleep might have unfolded differently. Jupiter watches without needing credit. It guards without requiring recognition. A quiet guardian, steady and strong, the solar system's gentle protector. A presence we rarely think about, but one we live under every day. Where silence becomes comfort in the stillness of the universe, Jupiter turns, slowly, patiently, eternally. There are no crowds there, no noise, no urgency, just soft colors, lunar lanterns, and infinite dark that is not frightening, but calming. Because darkness in space is not emptiness, it is rest. It is a place where everything is allowed to be as it is, where nothing is rushed, nothing is forced, nothing is undone. Jupiter reminds us that we too can rest, that our thoughts can settle, that our breath can slow, that our hearts can soften, because the universe is not loud. It is gentle, patient, and infinite, just like sleep. And now, as you drift into your own quiet night, let Jupiter continue turning in the darkness, calm, steady, eternal, and may its silence guide you softly into dreams. Jupiter continues to turn, far away in the quiet dark, steady, calm, eternal. And just like that giant world, you are safe to rest now. There is nothing you need to fix, nothing you need to chase, nothing you need to worry about. Just let your breath slow and allow sleep to rise gently around you, like a warm night sky closing its arms. If this journey brought you peace, you are welcome to return here anytime you need rest. And when you wake, remember to subscribe to Dreamy Sleepy Science, so you always have a place to come back to, a place of calm, warmth, and gentle wonder. Sleep deeply now, dream softly, good night.